Alright guys, so for today's lesson, we're going to teach you about commodities that you see in Rockcastle County. And really there's a couple real big ones. You got row crop with corn and soybeans, and Mr. Whitaker is going to talk to you about that. And I'm going to talk to you about beef cattle and hay production in Rockcastle County. So real quick, we'll talk here about beef cattle. Not a whole lot to talk about it. I'm sure that every one of you have seen a cow at some point in your life. If you haven't, let me know, because I want to talk to you more about
there's
life.
one right there.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never seen one, I want to talk to you about life. But cattle is a big part of Rockcastle County. A lot of farmers have cattle just because it's something that's easy, and you know, they bring pretty good money and stuff for what they are. In Rockcastle County, you'll hear these terms. Most of them are going to be a cow-calf operation. So basically what we do is we have cows, they're leaving.
Yeah, they ran off right with me.
They don't want to be on TV. But you have a cow, you breed that cow, she has a calf, you sell the calf. And that's mostly what Rockcastle County is, and we'll talk about the other types later in the class. But cattle is just something simple and easy that most farmers have. If you've drove around Rockcastle County at some point, I'm sure you've seen a cow. If you drove in the city limits of Mount Vernon, you've probably seen a cow at some point probably running by because they got loose from a farm or something. But cattle is a big part of Rockcastle County, and something that we'll talk more about in this class. So.
Lewis, would you say, before we move on here, probably a pretty high percentage of people that raise cattle are not full-time cattle farmers?
Yeah, like my dad, he is a full-time logger, but he's got 50 head of cows.
Yeah.
And most people in Rockcastle County, the average farm size, and I don't know this for a fact, the average farm size is probably 20 to about 60. There's some farmers here that I know have got 300 head, and they're full-time beef cattle farmers. But 90% of all beef cattle farmers in Rockcastle County have another job. This is just a part-time job, or they're a hobby farmist, if you will. And some of you guys may be in that boat too. So
I don't know what a farmist is, but
farmer.
Farmer, yeah.
I like to use different words. So.
All right, this is an old dairy barn too.
Yep,
it's kind of run down.
Used to be a big thing in Rockcastle County.
Not much anymore.
2 farms with it.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. So the next commodity that we're going to talk about is hay. And hay is one of the commodities that go hand in hand with our beef cattle and our animals. What it is basically hay is grass or alfalfa that we've cut. And we usually cut it around late April, May, and we'll do another cutting in the fall usually. And with hay, guys, what it does is we cut it, we let it dry for 2 days, 3 days, just depending on everything, and then we will roll it or bale it into square bales, round bales or square bales, and then we feed it to our livestock. Hay is very important because in the wintertime there's no grass for the cows to eat, or the sheep, or whatever the case may be. So we have to have something to feed them, supplement them, and that's what hay is used for. In Rockcastle County, you'll see hay down anytime that they're given good weather. You'll see in the late spring or in fall, and I'm sure you've probably seen it at some point. We'll talk a little bit about the equipment. This behind me is a round baler, and what its job is, after we've cut the hay, we've let it dry, we'll go behind it, we'll go in the hay field, rake it, we'll round bale it, and then that is how we get our harvest finalized with hay. And then this here is a case one.
New Holland.
New Holland. Okay, I was thinking red, my bad. And then back here, real quick, we'll show you this behind us here.
This is an old Farmall Cub tractor you used to plow tobacco with. That's just a little side note.
I drove that one before.
I've drove it many times. It's not fun.
Oh, no, the seats suck on that.
Oh yeah, gosh. Yeah, here, look at this seat. Would you like to sit on that seat for 5 hours? Yeah, that's fun. All right, anyway, go ahead.
Right, so here's a New Holland rake. This is what we consider a V rake. So what'll happen is we'll take it out in the field. These two arms here will let down and it makes a V. We'll just pull around through the hay, and these will pick up the hay and put it into what we call a windrow. And that's basically just a area of hay about that wide or something, where he'll go up into the hay baler. And this here is a disc vine, and this is what cuts our hay.
You want to go around to the front of it?
Yeah. And I'm too fat to get around that way, so I'll have to come behind you all. But that goes to the field, and that is what
corn planter right there.
Yep. And this will cut the hay. So we'll come up through here while the hay's standing. This will cut it, and this will allow it to dry.
I'm having a hard time getting. Here we go.
Hey,
there he is.
So this goes through the field, cuts the hay. Some people use this. Then you have just the regular. No, mine went blank again. Some people use
like a sickle mower.
A sickle mower, or you can use a disc mower. There we go. Sorry. So you can use a disc mower. Most people use a disc mower in Rockcastle County. Some people use these. These allow, when you cut the grass, it'll go through some rollers that will help crimp it and help it dry quicker. So if you got the money, this is the way to go here with a disc mower. So that's a little bit about hay. I'm sure you've seen round bales of hay. There's none around here, so we'll kind of go from there. So, all right.
So freshman class, welcome to Whitaker Farms out here in beautiful Wab, Kentucky. We're going to be talking about the two main row crops that we have here in Rockcastle County, which are corn and soybeans. Obviously, we're going to start with corn. There's probably like 4 or 5 big corn and soybean producers in the county. My family is one of those. And really those crops have replaced tobacco in the county. We used to have a lot of small-time tobacco producers, and when a lot of those people sold out and started doing things like beef cattle and different things. And the two crops that sort of replaced those were corn and soybeans. Most of the corn and soybeans that are grown in this county they're being sold to grain elevators around. My family goes around and sells to several different places and hauls it. They have a guy that has a truck and hauls it for them to different grain elevators around just wherever the price is best. And most of that is going to livestock feed. So when you see corn and soybeans outgrown in the county, most of that is being harvested and goes to eventually to mainly feed cattle and stuff like that, wherever it's being sold. Corn is mostly grown, or most of it's planted kind of in April and May of the year. It grows throughout the summer. It has to be sprayed with a herbicide to control weeds, and also sprayed for pests during the summer while it's growing. And then it's going to be harvested. This corn will probably be harvested in just a couple more weeks. So starting late September, October is the big month for harvest. Sometimes, depending on the weather, if it's a wet fall, it can go on into November and December, just depending on how things go. Most of the corn that we grow is yellow corn. I can open the ear up here. I don't think Jeffrey will notice if it's still one ear, Liz.
I tell you will.
Especially since it's right here by the road. We'll just tell him it was coons. But this is what it looks like. So this is not, for those of you that aren't as familiar with this stuff, this is not like your sweet corn that you get, at the grocery store or at the farmer's market. This is really different variety. This is what we call yellow dent corn, okay? So yellow dent corn is mostly, it's harvested when the seeds are hard, and we take it and grind it up for livestock feed. So that's kind of what it looks like there. Okay. So that's a little bit about corn production. That's one of our big crops in Rockcastle County. All right, and so then our other crop besides corn that we have a lot of in Rockcastle County is soybeans. Most producers are going to grow corn and soybeans together. Reason for that is to kind of diversify their market a little bit. So like if corn's not doing as well, hopefully soybeans will be doing a little better, and you can kind of offset a bad year and still make money. And also, soybean is what's known as a legume. And if you've never heard that term before, it's basically a plant that creates its own nitrogen, which is an important nutrient for growth. And so, but corn uses a lot of nitrogen. So when you raise soybeans, you're kind of giving the soil a break from having to use so much nitrogen out of it. So soybeans are a big crop as well. They are planted like in May and can go into June a little bit also. These are going to be harvested a little bit later than corn. So this is still going to be like, middle of October probably is when these will be ready. You can see, like if you look out through here, you see a lot of yellow. That's because the soybeans are dying, and they're supposed to die down before you harvest. And so these won't be harvested until they're like all the leaves are completely falling off, and it's basically just a stalk standing there. And Lewis, if we come over here, we can look at some beans. We'll just pull this one up that's right here out of the way. Combine probably won't get this one anyway. So these are what the bean pods look like. We can probably open this up. These probably still, they're turning yellow. I was thinking they might still be a little green. But that's kind of what they look like there. A lot of time, most people, when they think of soy, they hear things like soy milk and soy burgers and all that stuff. That's really a small percentage of what soybean production goes to. Most of this is livestock feed, just like the corn. And so soybeans and corn, two big crops in Rockcastle. All right, so one last thing we want to show you on the corn and soybean production is the grain bins and the combine. So a couple of equipment things. These are the grain bins, and so when corn and soybeans are harvested, most of the time they're put into these grain bins for storage. A couple of reasons that you store them. One is to kind of dry them out a little bit, because when you take them to sell them, the moisture percentage has to be low enough. It has to be within a certain range for them to purchase it. So these grain bins will actually dry those soybeans or corn out in order to get it to the right percentage before you sell it. Or also, people store corn and soybeans until the market can get to the correct price. So some people will have a contract where they sell corn and soybeans for a certain price before it's even planted, and some people will wait until after they've harvested and wait until the price is where they want it. So sometimes we'll store these until the price can go up a little bit and then take it to market and sell it. You can also see the grain truck back here. That's
not the Toyota.
Not the Toyota. It won't haul. It'll haul a lot of grain, but it won't haul that much. But it'll. That's one of the semi trucks there to haul grain with. And then last thing here that Mr. Mink and I want to show you is the combine. So these are the soybean heads for the combine. So this is the attachment. When you see the actual combine, this is an attachment that goes on the front of it to harvest soybeans. And then over here is the actual combine. A lot of you guys have seen these before in pictures and stuff. You may not have been around one in person or been up close to it. But this is a harvesting machine. And so it's called a combine because it combines basically like the picking and shelling of the crop. And so this machine, like that soybean head we showed you over there, it attaches onto the front of this And this will go out through the field. The plants will go into here, and it goes through. We don't want to get too complicated, but basically what it ends up doing is shooting the seeds up into this big hopper up here in the top, and basically what you're left with is the actual seed. So obviously you can see this is a really big piece of machinery. 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen anything like this in Rockcastle County anywhere, hardly. There might have been one person that had a combine like this. And now, there's probably 4 or 5 producers that do this here in this county. If you go out into the western U.S., these are everywhere. They're really common. So that's a combine, and it's the right color too.